What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 50 and we're starting today's episode off on the back of our big loss to West Ham. No wins in our last three, 2 defeats in our last three and just 1 point picked up from 9. He's now 6 points behind Manchester City in 4th with 13 games to go. It's safe to say it's now or never for Southampton. But yeah, starting today's episode off with Leeds. We've got 8 games in today's episode. Yeah, it's a special thank you episode today. It's a 30-minute video. I really hope you guys enjoy this. I say this all the time, really, but if you are a new viewer to the channel, then firstly, welcome. Hopefully you're enjoying the first save of mine you've watched. But every time we hit 50 or 100 in a career mode series, I upload a special thank you episode. Just a long one, like 3 episodes rolled into one, as a token of my appreciation for all the love and support. And I want to say as well, to start the episode off, the support on this series has been fantastic and I can't thank you guys enough for that. I mentioned right at the start of the save, back in episode number 1, realism was going to be the name of the game in this save, and I mentioned it is almost impossible to keep a career mode series realistic due to crazy AI form and an unpredictable and wild, and let's be honest here, most times unrealistic transfer market. But I'm doing my absolute best with the save, and I think what I really appreciate is how much you guys appreciate that. You know, I'm going to make mistakes from time to time. Of course, I'm human. Yeah, I know that. But, you know, you guys seem to appreciate that I'm doing my absolute best to keep the save as realistic as possible as we're now 3.5 seasons in. So, yeah, the support's been great. You guys have been really awesome with the love and the feedback. Thank you so much for that. And as a token of my appreciation, 50 episodes in, here is a 30-minute, 8-game thank you special. Really hope you guys enjoy it. So yeah, starting off with Leeds United, took the lead in the game through Adam Mola. Look, man, very impressive season for our inside forward on left for Leeds would level it soon afterwards. Right before the break, still tied at 1-1. Shea Adams denied. This guy just isn't getting the luck in the Premier League, man. Seriously, he's been so inconsistent all season long. Amazing save. Kept it at 1-1 from point blank range, but straight after Leeds got the ball clear, we won it back, rolled it through to Gareth Bale. And in today's episode, guys, you'll see some absolute screamers. This is one of the absolute best. Bale, the Welsh wizard, potentially retiring at the end of the season, gets the ball from JWP. One touch to flick it through his legs, and then the finish with the left boot. Oh my goodness, absolutely majestic. That is like Spurs' final year or two of his career in North London, Gareth Bale. That was absolutely amazing from our veteran. Again, I often get flashes in the top right or the top left when I'm playing a game where Bale is starting that says he's considering retirement. Now, I haven't had a player conversation with Bale. If I did, I would show you it, but there is a chance he'll retire at the end of the season. I think he'll probably stay on because players, when they opt to retire, it's ordinarily always shown to you at the start of the season. It will say retiring at the end of the season in the squad hub. If they do decide to retire midway through a season, it's because they're not getting enough game time. That's not the case for Gareth Bale. He's been starting the majority of our games, including this one. He scored our 2nd goal, and then just after the hour mark, oh, this was relief. He's really struggled in the Premier League since the early stage of the season, but Shea Adams makes it 3-1, gives us a 2-goal cushion with 18 minutes to go. The points seem to be wrapped up. Ritsu gets around Fuentes with a ball roll, goes for goal. Great save by Klaas and keeping it 3-1, but really, I could have been 4, 5, 6-1 up at this point. Had my finishing been better, I would have been. And with 8 minutes to go, once again, it's Ritsu storming down the right. This time decided to wisely cut it across, and there is at the back stick. Adamola, Lookman, our inside forwards linking up for our 4th goal. Lookman bagging his brace. Southampton 4, Leeds United 1. Thank goodness for that. No wins in our last 3. 1 point picked up from 9. Back on track with a big win against Jesse Marsh's Leeds United. Exactly what we needed. 6 points behind Man City pre-game. We are going to make the top 4 now with 12 games to go. Got to start winning these games, man. These should be what you call bankers. We got to make sure we capitalise and get the 3 points with limited trouble. So following the game, as you would see, it was time for the Europa League Europa League last 16 draw, as I was progressing through to the FA Cup last 16 against Manchester United. And we would see in the first knockout round we enter in a European competition in the safe who Southampton have been drawn against in the Europa League last 16. And Southampton, over 2 legs, will be taking on The Danes FC Midtjylland. There's a couple of blockbuster ties in there. Arsenal versus Sporting, Monaco versus Fiorentina, and I know you see the one at the top there, Inter versus Atletico. Great ties there in the Europa League for the last 16. We've got FC Midtjylland. We've avoided a certified big boy, and I got to say, as you'll see both legs in today's episode start March off, definitely firm ferries to that as well. And I mentioned before, that's the luxury of topping the group in the Europa League. When you go through, you bypass the preliminary knockout round where you got to face a Champions League knockout team, a side that finished third in the Champions League group stages. That's the luxury of topping your groups. If you are in a Europa League competition, make sure you take the group seriously, like we do. You don't want to finish runners up and then have to face it again in either an Inter Milan or Atletico Madrid, for example. You want to make sure you get through as group winners. Not only do you go through a round, but you also miss out a Champions League side guaranteed in the first knockout round competition because you get a bye for it. Even so, for the second game of today's episode, on the back of the big win against Leeds, now going away from home, Old Trafford, Manchester United, FA Cup last 16. And when a tie was drawn, I said I think our progress might end here. Having said that, this season has been a season of scalps. We've only lost one time all season long against a certified big boy. So heading to the game, I had pretty confidence. I had a little bit of confidence that we could pull off another scalp here. Starting the game off, Ritsu Doan gives us the lead, and then 34 minutes in, Sam Johnston back at his old stomping ground with an incredible save from the corner. We came on the break. Ritsu sent down the right hand side. He's got Williams to beat, takes it around Brandon, rolls it across, and Ademola Lookman brace against Leeds, and then the second goal here 8 minutes before the break as we go 2-0 up at Old Trafford in the FA Cup last 16. A lightning quick Saints counter-attack finished off by Ademola, and at the break we were leading by 2. So in the second half I was thinking, okay, alright, we've got a 2-goal lead, but this is Manchester United, a team with great attacking quality. They've invested really well in the save as well. I've got to play lockdown, smart, tight defense. And 12 minutes after the restart, I had to show you this on the replay. One of the best bits of defending of the save. KWP. Oh my goodness, saves a certain goal with that last-ditch tackle. Deflects onto Thorgan Hazard. It hits the Belgian, goes behind for a goal kick. In for Livramento. What a bit of defending from Walker Peters. I rarely show defensive highlights, but for moments like that, I got to do so. That was incredible. So still leading by 2, but the Red Devils are getting the chances in the second half. Fortunately, though, I was playing some very smart defense, not lunging in unless I needed to, and just containing Manchester United. Once again, KWP putting Hazard off at the back six. He heads over, and we're still leading by 2. And with 15 minutes to go, closing out the game, leading by 2. The Red Devils trying to play out from the back, give it away. Aribo rolls through James Ward-Prowse, and the big game player does it once again. Captain, leader, legend of Southampton, James Ward-Prowse receives the through ball from Aribo, runs through one-on-one, smashes it past Daya. And how often do we see this guy come up big in the biggest of games? That's what captains and leaders need to do, and Ward-Prowse always does it. Final score at Old Trafford, Manchester United 0, Southampton 3. Massive scalp away from home. Not for the first time this season. We are into the FA Cup quarterfinals, and a really great counter-attacking display in that game as well. Played some very smart, solid, tight defense. KWP my man of the match, and the breaks we had in the game as well. Lightning quick, capitalising on the Red Devils' poor marking and positioning at the back, and also poor moments in possession, like for the third goal as well. So 3-0 the final score, and as the underdogs progress through to the last 8 of the FA Cup for the second time in a row, we'd find out who we've got in the FA Cup quarterfinals, and the Saints have been drawn against. Okay, alright, I'll take it. Liverpool versus Leicester, Spurs versus Crystal Palace, Fulham versus the Baggies, and we take on the Magpies away at St James's Park. Not an easy game whatsoever. As we know, Eddie Howe's side, with all the money they've got, very, very tough battle there away in the North East. But we've avoided Liverpool and we've avoided Spurs, the two teams I was desperate to avoid, although Spurs have struggled a little bit this season. And also Leicester as well, who are having a really good season, trying to get into the top 4 for next year's Champions League. So Newcastle away, you definitely say we're favourites, with no disrespect to the Magpies, but it will be a very tough battle, no doubt about that. And the chance of reaching Wembley for the third time in 2 years. Last year, FA Cup semi-finalists got a chance to get back there again, and of course reached the EFL Cup final as well. Golden chance of getting to Wembley for the third time in 2 years. And when you consider our record in London this season, the amount of wins we've had at Stamford Bridge and the Emirates Stadium and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and the Community Stadium, I've got to say, I fancy our chance if we do get to Wembley there of once again having another win in London. Love him playing in the capital right now, but even so, it is Newcastle in the last 6 days. In the quarterfinals, favourites, but it'll be a tough game, no doubt about that, especially with the fixture congestion coming. So after a scouting update and an academy update, see our fixtures for March. As you can see, both games against FC Midtjylland in the Europa League last 16. That quarter-final game away at St James's Park sandwiched in between. And the Premier League fixtures, Fulham at home, one of the few teams to beat us this season. Both Manchester clubs away and Spurs at home as well. This is a really, really tough month for March here. Taking on a side that have beaten us this season in Fulham to start off with. Europa League quarterfinals, yes, we're favourites, but of course there'll be pressure coming there in those 2 games, knowing we are favourites. And of course, an FA Cup quarterfinal away from home as well. This is going to be a tough month of March, no doubt about it, and possibly what you'd call a make or break one as well. So yeah, a third way through the episode, guys. I just want to say real briefly, if you are enjoying the episode and a couple of games that have been great so far, please do drop a like if you can. This video did take a while to make, so if you can leave a like, really, really appreciate it. But I hope you're enjoying the video so far, and believe me, with 20 minutes to go, there's still a lot of shocks, surprises and screamers to come. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the episode. So, third game of the 8 in today's episode, Fulham at St Mary's here. Coming to the game, as we know, I mentioned earlier, Fulham lost to them at Craven Cottage. Right now struggling to keep themselves in the Premier League, so we were looking for revenge in this game. Starting the game off, absolute perfect start. Ritsu bagging his 10th of the season. He's into double digits as we would take the lead early on the South Coast. And 21 minutes in, once again coming on the counter-attack. Armstrong rolling through Ritsu down the right-hand side. And this is just his trademark. His game is basically modelled off of Ian Robben. Cutting in from the right, shooting with the left, and normally finding the back of the net. 11th goal of the Premier League this season for Ritsu Dine. I've mentioned before, if we don't get into the Champions League for next season, I'll let him go for realism. This guy is now 80, I think 86 or 87 overall. Fact of the matter is, he's too good to not be playing on the biggest of stages. So, leading by 2 at the break. Could have been 3 or 4, ended up really. I've not been some great saves. Still leading by 2. I'm not really in much trouble. I almost gifted Fulham a route back into the game as well. 3 minutes after the restart. Trying to play out from the back, giving the ball away. Javi onto Veros tonight by Pickford, still going for that golden glove. But other than that one chance which I gifted to visitors, we were still the far better side. 15 minutes to go, a chance to make it 3. Bale chips it across. Minamino gets in behind the last defender, rounds the goalkeeper and slots in as well. Minamino, you don't see him very often. He rarely gets game time, and he's so... It's crazy, man. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but like, whenever he does either come off the bench or get a rare start as well, he often gets 1 chance a game. Like, 1 chance a game to get a goal. And it's 50-50. Either I'll blaze the ball well off target with him on a one-on-one, or I'll slot the ball in with a composed of finishes. This time it was the latter, as it was our Japanese duo that got the brace. Got the 3 goals in this game here. A brace for Ritsu and 1 for Minamino. From Japan to the south coast of England, 3-0 over Fulham. Big clean sheet, big 3 points. And after we were 6 points behind Man City, we continue to chip away at that deficit which Guardiola currently has on us right now. We are not giving up on that 4th and final Champions League spot. 4th game of today's episode, moving straight into this one. Thursday night, Denmark, FC Midtjylland away from home. Definitely firm favourites to this tie here in the Europa League last 16. Having said that, FC Midtjylland have had a few games against English sides over the years in European competitions. Back in 2015, 2016, they faced Manchester United over 2 legs in the Europa League, and I remember the Red Devils did come through in the second leg, but lost the first leg away in Denmark. So coming here, I was thinking potential banana skin, no doubt about that. Got to make sure we don't slip up here away in Scandinavia. Well, it was a perfect start. Early on into the game, Adam Armstrong gives us the lead, makes it 1-0, and then 34 minutes in, rolls through a Brecciese down left-hand side. Our top scorer in Europe with goal number 6. A Brecciese. I mentioned it, with Lookman's great form in the Premier League, it's hard to get this guy consistent game time domestically, but in Europe, he's always one of my first names on the team sheet. 6 goals in the Europa League for a Brecciese, and our second of the night. So leading by 2-0 in Denmark, and really, whilst I did see this as a potential banana skin, hence why I did decide to start quite a few of my senior players for the game, and not field a totally weakened lineup for this one here, despite being firm favourites. I wanted to try and get the job done in the first leg. Now we got Newcastle United in the FA Cup quarter-final on the weekend away, then some big games in the Premier League against both Manchester clubs and then Spurs as well. I didn't want fatigue for those really big battles domestically. I wanted the job done heading back to St Mary's in 7 days' time, and I couldn't have asked for a better first half. 38 minutes in, we were 3-0 up. Ritsu's third in 2 makes it 3-0. Job surely done at the break with a chance to make it 4 with 25 minutes to go. Well, what did I just say about Mina? He gets one chance a game. And it's just like, it's so funny. He's like, I get one chance with him every single time I play him. One chance to get a goal. And it's normally a one-on-one because he's got the pace and he's got the dribbling. And I either slot it in really coolly or I blaze it well wide or into orbit. Unbelievable miss with the Japanese forward there. Sent the ball well over the bar for a 3-point conversion. Mina, who doesn't get our 4th goal in the game. We will return St Mary's 3 goals up heading into that game on Thursday night on the South Coast. And we are surely, well, we're 90 minutes away from reaching the Europa League quarterfinals now. We surely got 1 foot in the Europa League quarterfinals now. Big demolition job in Denmark, exactly what we wanted. And what a response for the Saints as well after a really poor mini run of form. No wins in 3, 2 defeats in 3, 1 point from 9. Well, now 4 wins in a row for the Saints, and we're finally back on track. So for the following game, 5th of 8 in today's episode, this was going to be one of the biggest of the season. The Magpies away, St James's Park, taking on Eddie Howe's side, as we know in real life, had a resurgence since the January window, really. Taking on Newcastle United here away from home, FA Cup quarter-final. Desperate to reach Wembley once again for the 3rd time in 2 years. And heading into the game, I felt favourites. I had a really strong lineup out there. But the first half an hour was all Newcastle United. We had Walker Peters clear a ball off the line. We had Sam Johnston make a couple of brilliant saves. Really, they could have been 3-0 up in the first half an hour had not been some brave defending and great shot stopping. So still tied at 0-0. We only really had one chance in the first half as well. 34 minutes in, Bale going for goal from range denied as we were still tied at 0-0. I couldn't really break them down. My best chances were coming again from range in this game. Couldn't really get inside the Magpies. What was a really tough first half. I've got to be honest here, one of the toughest first halves of the season as Bale tries to luck with a weaker right foot here, but fires it wide 8 minutes before the break. So at half time, still tied at 0-0. And whilst we had an encouraging end to the first half, we've been the worst team in the first 45 minutes. The Magpies have been a better side. And after the restart, the train continued. They were getting the chances. I was struggling to contain. And 64 minutes in, well, sometimes I just make a glaring error where I can only hold my hands up and say, that's my fault. I got that one wrong. This goal is on me. Yep, always willing to admit my mistakes here, and I got this one completely wrong. First got skinned down the right-hand side here. Just awful with me, really, to be honest here. I should have been a lot more stronger in the challenge. Crossing the middle, and with KWP, I was trying to pass out from the back, as I always do on the first-time volley, but I got the direction of the left stick wrong. Flicked it straight into the path of Iñaki Williams, the former Bilbao man, says thanks very much for that. Makes it 1-0. Magpies deservedly in front. With 20 minutes to go, staring down the brink of exiting the FA Cup and missing the chance to reach Wembley. Oh yes, relief. 19 minutes to go. He struggled in the Premier League, but in the FA Cup he scored in every single round. Che Adams gets the leveller, sends us in to extra time. And with 30 minutes to play in the game, tied at 1-1, it could go either way in the extra time period. It was such a tough game. The Magpies, despite being underdogs, had really battled well. I was struggling to defend against them. But in extra time, in the first half when nothing happened, I'd really shut the door on them after some weak defence in 90 minutes. And right after the restart in the second half of extra time, oh my goodness, get this guy in the Champions League. He's too good for us, man. He's too good. Our 2 stars, our 2 most important players, our 2 guys who always turn up when it matters most, combining for the goal to possibly win us the tie. JWP with the perfect through ball into the path of our Japanese sensation, Ritsu Doan with the weaker right foot, bends it in far corner, and 12 minutes on the clock. Newcastle couldn't break us down. We held on for the win in what was such a tough game with St James's. Stats really deceptive here, guys. Don't read too much into those stats here. That was a really, really tough game. Could have gone either way, but we held on for the win, came from behind to do it in extra time, and we are back at Wembley for the 3rd time in 2 years and go to the FA Cup semi-final. final. What a titan. Fair play, man. That was one of the toughest games of FIFA I've played this year. That was incredible. But as we go through to the final four, we see the fixture drawn and who we've got in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and the Saints will be taking on at Wembley. Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley. Obviously, during the time the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was being constructed, they spent a lot of time playing at Wembley. It's Liverpool versus West Brom, the other tie, and we will take on Antonio Conte's side in the final four. And Spurs this season are below us in the table. They've had a really tough campaign on the brink of possibly missing out of European football altogether. I've got to say, heading into that game there, whilst you look at both teams and suggest it's very even, I'm going to be honest here, I think we're slight favourites. I really do. I think we're slight favourites for the game because we've beaten Spurs this season away in London, in North London at their ground. We've got a great record in London this season, albeit, of course, haven't played at Wembley so far this year, but I think we're slight favourites. Based on league position right now and based on form, I think we're slight favourites for that game. And this is a really cool moment in an RTG, and I talk about it often where you're doing an RTG, you start off with a mid-table or bottom half, top tier side, for example, and suddenly, when you're taking on one of the certified big boys, like 2 or 3, 4 years in, you think to yourself, do you know what? I think we're better now. I think we're, if not just as good, then possibly a little bit better and favourites for a game against one of the big boys. That's how I feel. Spurs, FA Cup semi-final. It'll be a tough one, no doubt about it. Could go either way, but I think we're slight favourites for that. And I've got to be honest here, if we don't get through to the final, I'll say possibly we've not bottled it, but let ourselves down a little bit. Spurs, semi-final, bring them on. Before we get there though, following game, 6th one of today's episode. Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe it. Now, on the weekend, massive game, one of the biggest of the season, Manchester City away at the Etihad Stadium. Need to win to keep our Champions League dreams alive. I didn't expect this. Thursday night, FC Midtjylland, second leg of the Europa League, last 16, leading by 2-0 after our win in Scandinavia. We were 2-0 down at the break, and on the brink of having the worst collapse in Europa League knockout round history. We were so close to going 3-0 down 9 minutes after the restart, and the Scandinavian side probably saw my lineup and thought, you're taking the mick. Like, seriously, I had a fully rotated lineup out there. Only Jordan Pickford was one of our regular starting 11 players. Plus, to be fair, Gareth Bale and James Ward-Prowse also started as well. But even so, we were 2-0 down, and I was just all over the place. And talk about a swing, and talk about relief. And I tell you, if I was doing a face cam for this video, you would have seen at this moment, I breathed the biggest sigh of relief when I put the controller down on my desk and thought, thank goodness for that. We were so close, inches away from going 3-0 down, and Midtjylland battling back from a 3-0 deficit over 2 legs to tying on the night on aggregate. But from the goal kick, we passed our way forward. And our Welsh wizard, please don't retire at the end of the season, now down to 77 overall. He's not the same player he used to be, but he still knows how to come up big in big games, including tonight. It wasn't supposed to be a big game, but it turned into one. Bale's brace in the second half ensures our undefeated streak remains alive, and we draw on a night 2-2. Fair play though, I'll be honest here. Heading into the game, I thought the tie was done, hence my lineup. Ward-Prowse started, Bale started, and obviously Pickford started too. But really, it was a weekend lineup with Man City on the weekend. I thought we were through after the first leg in Scandinavia. That was almost the worst bottle job of all time. Thankfully, that moment saw Midtjylland fire wide. We came on the break from the goal kick and got that goal to get back in the tie and knock the stuffing out of Midtjylland, really. We're into the Europa League quarter-final and we'll be taking on in the last day of the Europa League. How many draws in today's episode? Fiorentina away in Tuscany, Atletico Madrid versus Wolfsburg, Royal Antwerp versus Napoli, and Sporting Lisbon versus Frankfurt, who of course knocked out Barcelona so recently in real life as well, are the other ties too. And Fiorentina this season, as I often say, take the league tables with a pinch of salt, but if we are to go off what the league tables show right now, having a really good season, 5th place in the Serie A, only 2 points off Atalanta in that 4th and final Champions League qualification spot. They're having a really good season in the Serie A right now, so that's going to be a very tough tie. Although I'd say, just like against the Spurs FA Cup semi-final, it's going to be tough, it's going to be tight, it could go either way. But I'll put us as slight favourites for the game. Last day of the Europa League, and after that, well, almost shambolic bottle job against Midtjylland. I'd have to be a little bit stronger defensively if we are to make it through to the Europa League semi-finals. The board have asked us to reach the final. I said this year I was targeting the semi-finals. Well, we're 180 minutes from getting there, but we'll need a better showing, particularly in the second leg, if we are to make it through. Fiorentina, Europa League quarterfinals, first leg coming in Tuscany. Anyway, for the following game here, penultimate one of today's episode, Manchester City, Etihad Stadium. We saw the league table pre-game, I believe. This was a massive game here, taking on Guardiola's side. We simply could not afford a loss. And starting the game off, it was all Manchester City, and 37 minutes in. How good is this young man? Phil Foden volleys, drills, smashes in the opener. And when I said in today's episode there were some screamers, well, here's one from the AI that you don't normally see nowadays in this year's FIFA, but you certainly did at the start of the FIFA. Do you remember this year's FIFA, at the start of the FIFA, where, like, the AI just smacked in a goal from, like, 25 yards every other game? It was ludicrous. Don't see it as much these days. EA have turned it down, but Phil Foden, absolute thunderbolt from the youngster, makes it 1-0. The hosts in front, and really the goal was coming as well. Pickford made a couple of great saves, but really that first goal was coming. And it not being for Jordan as well, we would have been 4-0 down, 51 minutes in. Another great save there, kept us only trailing by 1 and hanging on by a thread here as we were still down by a single goal. But the second goal was coming, and a few minutes later as Alvarez rolls it through to KDB. What an assist this was. You know I'm a sucker for a nice assist. Julian Alvarez threads the needle, splits the defence for a lovely reverse through ball. And there is the Belgian veteran, Kevin De Bruyne, who slots home from close range. Final score at the Etihad, Man City 2, Southampton 0. Yeah, so, I have to say, as you look at the league table here, on the back of a game where, I've got to say, I got dominated. Always present the highlights package fairly. As I often say, I'll never be biased in my highlights. I always show them fairly. Got absolutely dominated in the game there. You'll see the league table now, heading into the game at Old Trafford with the Red Devils top by a point. Well, we're now 9 points off Man City and 8 points off West Ham. The only good news is, as David Moyes' side are tumbling down the table in really poor form right now, we are 8 points behind the Irons, but we've got 2 games in hand and a better goal difference record as well. So it's not over yet. There's not many games to go, 10 remaining in the season. We're in the business end of it, but there is still time and there is still a chance for us to potentially finish in the top 4. I don't think we'll catch the top 3 now, even though Man City are only a point ahead of West Ham. They've got 2 games in hand on the Irons, as do we. If we are to be in the Champions League next season, the team I'm targeting, West Ham United. 8 points behind them in the table, 2 games in hand. This was one of them. Win this game and we cut it to 5 and still have a game in hand as well. Red Devils, final game of today's episode, leading the league, going for the title. Sometimes you need a bit of luck, and we'll take it. Ritsu's 12th of the season took a massive deflection of Rafael Varane as the former Real Madrid defender inadvertently deflects it past De Gea and into the back of his own goal. Let's be honest here, it would have been handball had it not trickled into the back in there. Do you remember back in the day, a few years ago, FIFA introduced handballs to the game, and there was an option to toggle them on and off? I'll be honest here, for realism, I love that option back in the game. I don't know why they took it out, because you could toggle it on and off. It wasn't like automatic. You didn't always have to have them on. If you didn't want them on, you could turn them off. I really hope EA in future versions of FIFA put handballs back on. I know it's frustrating because you can't really control much of it, but I'd love to toggle it on. It will make the save a lot more realistic, you know, because it would have been handball had it not been a goal. But even so, it's 1-0 to Southampton, but unfortunately, we were coming up against this guy who is just so good in FIFA career mode. First, Paul Pogba found a leveler for the Red Devils, and then Victor Osimhen. This goal was unbelievable. Talk about Speedy Gonzalez. Salisu comes out to meet him and he says, "I'll see you later, mate. You're not catching up." Beats Mark Guehi running through to try and make the last-ditch tackle as well. Smacks it past Pickford. The Red Devils from a goal down lead by 2 goals to 1 at the break. So, yeah, we surrendered our lead. We're on the brink of back-to-back losses in the Premier League. Can't afford that if we're going to make the Champions League spots. And in a game where we needed a little bit of luck, it seemed, we certainly got it. 11 minutes after the restart, another helping hand, and we'll take it. Ritsu's shot deflects right into the path of Gareth Bale, and our Welsh wizard makes it 2-2 in a really topsy-turvy game in the Northwest. Great game, action-packed, really good. The Red Devils going for the title. The Saints trying to keep their Champions League dreams alive. So action-packed, could have gone either way. In the end, it's a 2-2 draw, and I will take it. No wins in our last 3 in all competitions, but I'll take the point away at the league leaders Manchester United Old Trafford. That's not a terrible result for us, and it does mean we continue to keep pace with the top 4. It's not over yet. There's 9 games to go. There's no doubt about it. We're the outsiders. There's a lot of ground to make up, but we still have the game in hand on West Ham. We still have the chance of catching David Moyes' side, but if we're going to do it, we've got to go into really good form now. 7-point gap, but a game in hand and a better goal string as well. We can cut it to 4 if we win our following game against Spurs, but trying to stay competitive, finishing the top 4, FA Cup semi-final against Spurs to come, and Europa League quarterfinals against Fiorentina as well. Can we do it all as the season comes to its close? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. Massive thank you for watching a 30-minute thank you special. If you enjoyed it, then please do drop a like. Took an age to make, so I'd really appreciate a like. Much love to you all. Thank you so much for watching the episode and the series as a whole so far. And I'll see you for the next one very soon as the season comes to its climax, chasing a European honour, an FA Cup and a Champions League spot as well. It's going to be tense, man. Don't miss the finale. I'll see you for the final few episodes of Season 3 very soon.